Hello and welcome to Moment of Truth on Labour Social. I'm Graham Hughes. So the annual horror fest that is the Tory party conference has begun in Manchester, which is so far from London that Jeremy Hunt was forced to fly rather than suffer the indignity of the 2-hour train journey. He jumped on a half-hour BA flight after a 35-minute car journey to Heathrow, checked in, security, and then had a 30-minute car journey on the other side to Manchester city centre, arriving at the conference centre a good 2 hours after he left central London. That's the kind of planet-killing efficiency that Tories are renowned for. And talking of planet killers, after trotting out some desperately unpopular policies concerning the environment over the last few weeks, including giving the green light to massive oil extraction in the North Sea, miserably failing to get any bids for any new offshore wind farms, pushing back the date when new petrol and diesel sales have to end, and ending any kind of obligation on landlords to insulate their properties, and now making out that it's the God-given right for every red-blooded Englishman to drive like a maniac in built-up areas. The lousiest Prime Minister since the last one was talking to Lord Kunsberg and refusing to say whether HS2 was going to connect to the very city the Tory conference is being held in or not. Apparently, he doesn't have to follow the Tories' 2019 manifesto because he instinctively knows what the public wants. Yes, this guy's worth over £700 million, went to one of the more elite public schools in the country and flies around in the private jet, but he has his finger on the pulse of what is going down on the main streets of all the towns and cities he's never bothered visiting. After being asked why Sunak and the screaming monkey clown car on fire, that is the modern Tory party, is so keen for the UK to be the laughing stock of the world, Sunak said that he rejected that because apparently he's been around the world and he didn't see anyone laughing. Oh yeah, and we're attracting billions of pounds of investment into the country, creating jobs everywhere, apparently. Just a few things to point out. The Tories have made us the laughing stock of the world. It's just that Sunak wouldn't know that. He's the kind of person that when people point and laugh at him, he arrogantly assumes they're laughing at someone behind him. It's something that comes, maybe it's taught or whatever. It comes from an expensive education. Also, foreign direct investment has gone off a cliff in recent years. Other countries don't trust us, and many of the jobs that have been created under the Tories' reign of sheer incompetence pay so badly that millions of working people are having to use food banks just to stay alive. But in typical Tory fashion, Rishi Sunak likes to reject cold hard reality in preference for living in cloud cuckoo land. What does he care? After the next election, him and his tax-avoiding wife will be on a one-way ticket to California before all the votes are counted. Mark my words. The Tories know that their days are numbered. Ben Houchen, the Tees Valley mayor, said he would not bet on his party winning the next election. He said that out loud. And since this is very likely going to be the last Tory conference before a general election, the knives are already out over tax, culture wars, and who gets to be the next Tory leader. Poison chalice there. It's very much looking like this conference is going to collapse into infighting between rival groups of wrong'uns, battling it out, Pink Flamingo style, over who can be the most disgusting human being, who can be the shittiest toffwank in a seething mass of shitty toffwanks. Shortly before Sunak spoke, Rehab Pob himself, Michael Gove, was off script calling for pre-election tax cuts, which are pretty much impossible given what the Tories have done to the economy. And in newspaper interviews, Kimi Badenoch and Cruella Braverman were pretending that they wanted the UK to leave the European Convention on Human Rights for some other reason than it makes it difficult for vampires such as themselves to get away with feasting on the blood of screaming orphans. Too much paperwork, I guess. Meanwhile, other MPs are rattling Sunak to reduce tax, while a group of backbench bellends closely tied with 55 Tufton Street, calling themselves the New Conservatives, who, like the old Conservatives are simply obsessed with being horrible, horrible people, share Badenoch and Braverman's obsession with pulling out of the European Convention on Human Rights. Because, they're not human, I guess. They also want massive tax cuts for the wealthiest 1%, massive cuts to immigration, a reduction of young people attending university, and a ban on what they're calling gender ideology in schools. This calamitous cavalcade of MPs and even ministers pushing their own agendas plays right into Labour's hands. And as the Tory party descends further into factionalism, extremism, and hateful rhetoric, all they're doing is not just ensuring that their absolute decimation in the next election, but also helping to ensure that the Conservative Party is crushed to dust and blown to the four winds, never to take power in this country ever again. Far be it from me to stand in their way.